Hello, my name is Scott Garrison. You may remember me as Scott the Barber or just as Ron and Carla's son. I've been involved in our community since opening Scott's Barbershop on the southeast corner of 3rd and Main in 1998. Now I'm back in the same building as Garrison Financial. I started investing in my 20s. I invested through the dot-com crash and the Great Recession. I started caring for other people's money in 2018, and I truly enjoy sitting down with my clients, understanding their wants and needs as well as what keeps them up at night. Whether my friends just want me to invest a little of their savings or want me to work with their tax and legal professionals to strive towards optimal efficiency, we can do it all. I believe communication is key to helping my clients reach their goals. For if we are faithful over a few things, we shall be given more. Contact me at scott@soonerwealth.com. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Garrison Financial and Cambridge are not affiliated. This communication is strictly intended for individuals residing in the states of Colorado, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Texas. No offers may be made or accepted from any resident outside the specific states referenced. Cambridge does not offer tax and legal advice.
If you build it, he will.
It's the Skinny on Sports Podcast with Aaron Cowk.
I throw balls far. You want good words? Data language.
Talk real sports with a real man.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
And now, here's the be-all, end-all, know-it-all of high school, college, and pro sports. Aaron Skinny Cowk with the Skinny on Sports.
We're talking about practice, man. I'm the MVP.
Welcome into Friday, everybody. It is the Skinny on Sports on 98.1 FM, 1240 AM, KADS, the Sports Animal. Jared Atha filling in for Aaron Cowk. He is out once again today. And filling in for me today is Mr. Scott Garrison. And that's very appropriate because it is a Garrison Financial Friday here on a beautiful Friday. By the way, the last day of summer is today. Although we are full on into the fall sports. But today is the last day of summer. And I don't think the weather's going to cooperate as far as fall's concerned tomorrow. Well, that's something else to worry about. But welcome on into the show. Don't forget, you can be a part of it. Text on in, 580-225-9698. Also, you can subscribe to our podcast. A lot of different outlets there. I know Apple, I know Amazon, Google. Wherever you get your podcast, you're going to find it. And you can download our Paragon app and listen to us outside of the listening area. And all of our stations are on the Paragon app, KCO, Cool 94, of course, KADS as well, and many, many more. So a lot of ways to stay connected with us. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Running it down, of course, we'll start with, it is Friday. Although the Big Elks aren't playing, there are other high school football games happening throughout the area. We'll look at 4A1 schedule and others from around the area. Had a game last night. We'll kind of recap. Big college football weekend. Big Saturday in college football. We have a ton of what I call ranked games, when a ranked opponent's playing another ranked opponent. Plus, on top of that, a lot of those are conference games, so it's going to kind of shake out the pretenders from the contenders early on in the season. And there's some other non-ranked games, too, I have my eye on. We'll talk about that and maybe dive right into the OU at Cincinnati game. And OSU, well, yeah, they're having problems, but so is Iowa State. So who comes out on that one? We'll talk about that. NFL this weekend, who needs to win the most? And outside of games, there's the Dallas Cowboys had a crushing blow to their defense yesterday. We'll talk about that. And if we have time, we'll talk about Major League Baseball because we are fastly approaching October. October baseball means playoff baseball, but it already feels like the playoffs right now with some pennant races and wild card races, and there are some key series this weekend. So that's what we got on slate today. Again, 580-225-9698. Feel free to chime in and comment, give us your opinion, ask us your questions, or maybe we want to talk about something, or you want us to talk about something that we don't have written down here. Absolutely, throw it our way. We love to do it. Scott Garrison, how are you, sir?
Struggling this morning.
Struggling?
I am. I just went to the doctor.
Do I want to know?
And the nurse immediately puts the scale at 250 before I get up.
She just looked at you, sized you up, and said,
250.
We're going to start right here.
I mean,
Dare I say, did it tip or how did it work? Did it?
No, I came in at a svelte 237.
She kept going down. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, what? Man.
Wow.
So I went and got a fried chicken biscuit and a Coke to help take the pain away.
Eat your sorrows. You thought I was big. Just to check up, you all right? Everything good?
Yeah,
Everything
everything's good.
Good deal.
Everything's good.
How's everything down in your world financially?
It's going great, man. It's
Everything
going great.
good?
Yeah, we're helping people put together some plans for retirement, helping them look to the future, not just looking at how much can I save on taxes, but build a plan to help them reach a freedom date. Doesn't have to be a retirement date, but a date that they can say, you know what, this is what I want to do today.
I always look at when I think of financial stability out here, I look at oil prices, and because a lot of people bring in oil money, I call it oil money, royalties, stuff like that. Do you see anything like that? People come and go, hey, listen, I've inherited stuff, or I'm getting a little more here. What can I do with it?
Sure. Yeah, all the time. And people, try to be just make your money work as efficiently for you as possible. That's the key. Don't have it just sitting in an account and not making any money. Make your money work.
Burying it in the backyard doesn't help.
No, that doesn't help you.
No. You can help them.
And there's safe ways to make your money work, and there's more aggressive ways to make your money work.
It depends what your risk is. What your what do you call it? Risk assessment?
Risk tolerance, yeah.
Risk tolerance. There you go. Yeah, I'm more of a middle of the road guy. I think maybe when my kids get older and God willing they get a good job and I'm not having to worry so much about them, I might be more risky.
There you go.
Right now, I want to make sure that money's working for me. It's a marathon for me.
That's it.
Yeah. So 124 North Main, right there in the corner. Every time I drive by, I'm tempted to honk and see if you hear me. You can call you too, right? You got a number now, 580-821-1219.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So give me a call and we can talk it over.
Great.
So hey, you know what? You know what else I'm upset about today?
What's that?
We are 3 weeks into college football, and it's just not the same without Mike Leach.
It's not. It's like this has transitioned seamlessly with the passing of Mike Leach. God rest his pirate soul. That guy was awesome for every reason that's good for college football. What he gave us on press conferences, he changed the game with his offenses, and everywhere he went, everybody had to be ready for him, right? It didn't matter what kind of team. He's like, you better be ready for Mike Leach, whatever team he's coaching comes to town. It's like it's transitioned now to Dion. He gives you that at the podium.
He's not entertaining.
You see what I'm saying, though, now? But he's kind of turned it into now. And that's what makes this game with Oregon so interesting to me is – did Colorado do too much where Oregon's like, okay, you used to be our homecoming and you used to be our layup game and we're going to be ready for you now. But what I'm saying is no matter who Dion coaches, I think that's going to be.
That's what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely.
If it's Dion coaching this team, we better be ready. But it is, Mike Leach has missed.
Oh, man. I saw a video the other day of his breakdown of the mascots of the Pac-12.
So good.
It's just
so good. So good.
Yeah.
I didn't realize until after his passing. I knew, they call him the Pirate, and I just thought that was a moniker that he acquired with his swashbuckling, air quoting their ways of how he coached. He was like, oh, this dude's a pirate. He's a rebel, and he's changing the game and winning and all that. But he really loved like Key West and the whole beach scene, which I adore too. I'm No Shoes Nation right here, or Parrot Head, whatever you want to call it. I love it. So, and he had like a place where he'd go get like a sloppy Joe at this famous bar and pub or whatever in Key West, and there was like a stool for him.
Yeah.
So that's his stool forever.
There you go.
It's crazy. But that's good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, he's going to be missed. Yeah.
So what's the biggest game that you're looking at this weekend?
Well, college football, let's just start there. Outside of OU and OSU's games, of course, we'll always keep an eye on. I kind of alluded to it. Everyone's going to say Ohio State and Notre Dame because it is a top 10 matchup. It's at Notre Dame. Game day's there. That's billed as the biggest matchup this week. But I think and I'm not. I guess I might be falling in a little bit to the fascination with Deion in Colorado, but this Colorado at Oregon game could be like the telling of, is Colorado for real or not?
Yeah.
Their first three opponents, TCU, I'm not sold on them. I'm just not.
No.
And I think Colorado got them at the perfect time where nobody knew anything about Colorado.
Absolutely.
TCU might have kind of overlooked them. Who'd they play? Nebraska? Come on. They're not there yet.
Nebraska's
Matt Rule's
terrible.
good for them, but give them time.
Yeah.
And then, of course, last week, Colorado State, which
Matt Rule's good for him, but Matt Rule's going to have to learn the transfer portal too. 'Cause
Oh, yeah.
They weren't as active as they needed to be, obviously.
No, he's
Obviously.
Nah, I think they got to give him time. He's a good coach, especially in college. But he wasn't so much.
We couldn't tell anything from Colorado.
No, nothing.
From that
You
game.
didn't know anything, and I actually have I thought Jay Norvell knew what he was doing, and he was talking what he talked about with the sunglasses and hat. He knew this is still Colorado. It's still only been a year ago they won one game. They are gettable. That you can beat them, and I think that was precise. He knew exactly what he was saying to get Colorado riled up, and come out juiced up.
Mm-hmm.
And for a moment, for almost 3.5 quarters of that game, it was working.
Absolutely.
And
I agree
then
with what Aaron said on Monday. He should have taken. He had two opportunities in that fourth quarter to win the game.
Yeah. He kind of folded up in the pressure.
Yeah.
But I do think it was very telling for it took. Everyone's going crazy. Oh, what a great win for Colorado. Game of the year, so entertaining. Sure, yeah. Keep in mind, though, they were like a 20-plus point favorite in that game, and it took you 2 overtimes to beat them.
Yeah.
This is Colorado State. We're not talking about UCLA or another Pac-12. This is Colorado State from just a school north of you. Your in-state
that's
rival.
Tulsa. That's playing Tulsa.
It's like playing Tulsa, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So if Colorado goes to Eugene and gives them a fight, maybe lose by 3, I'm like, okay. But if Oregon comes out, scores 40-plus on them, and holds Colorado to, 20 or less,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. That's
Absolutely.
the Colorado I think we kind of thought we'd get this year.
Mm-hmm.
Good, not great.
Right.
I think Deion is great for this game. But I don't think Colorado right now is great. I think they're good, but not great.
Yeah, I agree. But that's not the game that I'm looking at. You know the game I'm looking at?
What's that?
Alabama Ole Miss.
That's a good one too.
Alabama Ole Miss. This is going to tell us, did Texas beat a real Alabama team?
Yeah.
Or did they beat a team that maybe Saban is losing a little step because of the transfer portal as well? Maybe.
I was kind of on pause in a holding pattern on Texas for that reason, because we don't know how good Alabama is. They're going back to Milroe this week, that quarterback. It's the third quarterback they've used, since the Texas game. South Florida, any lucky break, they could have pulled off the upset there.
Yeah.
And Texas.
South Florida won the first half.
Yes, absolutely they did.
Not just – they didn't get lucky. They came out, they hit them in the mouth, and they were beating Alabama.
And as far as Texas is concerned, I keep going back. It was 10-10 with Wyoming going into the fourth quarter last week, and this is with Wyoming's backup quarterback. So, that being said, is Alabama good, or is Texas good, or did we? And you can't tell a lot in week 2. They could still be, and I'm not suggesting this. This is a hypothetical. But what if they're just okay?
Yeah.
What if Texas and Alabama are just okay?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And we won't know that until another.
Well, we know that Alabama's quarterback play is just okay.
If that's being
if
generous,
it's just okay.
Yeah. So you're right. This is a good one. If Alabama comes out and looks good against Ole Miss, that makes Texas look good.
Yeah.
But if Ole Miss comes out and wallops them or whatever,
mm-hmm.
and I said this yesterday, and I'll give Texas a lot of credit for this. I don't care. Remember when Oklahoma, a third-ranked team at the time, went to Tuscaloosa, and Alabama was unranked, and Alabama gave them a fight. It took a fake punt to get out of that one, and a beautiful deep ball from Jason White to pull away. But you just don't. I don't care what if Alabama's unranked, if they're on hard times or whatever. It's still a tough place to go and win. So I'll give Texas a lot of credit for that. If Ole Miss can do that and do that convincingly like Texas does, what does that tell us about Alabama and therefore Texas?
Mm-hmm.
All the questions about Texas might be answered in the State Fair in Dallas.
Yeah.
No, I mean, not all of them, but all of our questions here in
Oklahoma's
Oklahoma
questions are definitely going to be answered.
So
and we've got plenty of them. I mean,
sure we do.
Yeah. What games are you guys watching? Let us know on the text line.
Absolutely. 580-225-9698. Again, there are a lot of them. We mentioned Colorado at Oregon. Ranked games, 22 UCLA at number 11 Utah. Will Cam Rising play? There's talks that he might make his debut in this one. Oregon State at Washington State. The Tupac the teams are playing each other. Ohio State, Notre Dame, we
Florida
mentioned.
State, Clemson. That's going to be an interesting game.
See, that's one I wrote down. Other games that aren't ranked versus ranked, but Florida State at Clemson. Clemson, their rallying cry is everyone's saying this is Florida State's conference now.
Yeah.
Don't forget about us.
Mm-hmm.
And they could it's crazy not to see a number next to Clemson's name being unranked, according to the AP anyways. But since everyone gave up on them after that Duke game, but their offense has come alive these last two against no-name opponents, albeit, but it looks like a Clemson offense. So Florida State coming to Death Valley. Watch that one. Florida State struggled with Boston College last week. If that game was played last week and Florida State played like that last week, Clemson wins that game by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, absolutely.
Watch that one. And another one, SMU at TCU. That's for OU's interest.
Yeah.
If SMU can score a lot of points against TCU, maybe even pull out the win, that makes that SMU-OU game go, oh, okay, you only held them to 11.
Yeah.
Which was their lowest output in a couple decades, I think, was what I saw. And then, of course, TCU, it doesn't look like they're as good as they were last year.
Well, they're certainly not what they were last year. But
no.
Are they? Yeah. Have they rebuilt a team, or are they going to be a 50% team? Are they going to be a 7-6 team at the end of the season?
Right.
Here's a big one that's big for me, which I have no idea how they're unranked after last week. I don't know how you go into Arkansas. How BYU goes into Arkansas.
I wrote this one down too.
And beats Arkansas, and they're undefeated. BYU Kansas is going to be a big time game.
Yeah, again, because a couple of future opponents for OU. I think Kansas obviously way better than what they have been in the past, and it starts at quarterback. BYU, I've always had a thing about BYU of, they're always just a tick older because of their rules.
Yeah.
I think that means they're more disciplined, and they just find ways to win. They got a good coach. The OU game at BYU terrifies me.
Tough.
It terrifies me. So if BYU goes into Kansas like they did when Arkansas, they're not scared of anybody. They went to SEC country and beat Arkansas. They're not going to be scared of Kansas. Listen, I know Kansas is better, but they're not striking fear in anybody. They don't. It's still Kansas football.
Except for maybe Texas.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
Texas might be a little scared of the Jayhawks.
Yeah, that's one I wrote down too to keep an eye on. So let's go back. OU at Cincinnati. How do you feel about that? I've had a heavy opinion about it. Not a popular one, but that one scares me too. Not so much the opponent, but because of the situation. Because it's the first conference game. It's on the road. It's the first Big 12 game for Cincinnati. What do you think about
them
it?
laying an egg last week didn't help us at all. But I think
they had incredible red zone issues.
Oh.
Could not score.
I think that my bold prediction of Jackson Arnold being the starting quarterback by Texas is not going to happen.
Dylan looked good.
He's
looked good. He's over 80% completion, 11 touchdowns.
He looks like a different player than last year. Now,
more-
maybe that's because he's had time to get comfortable with some of those receivers, get timing down. I don't know. Learn the offense. Last year, he looked rough. And, I mean, now he's 82%, 11 touchdowns with 1 pick. I mean, he looks good.
We had Toby rolling on yesterday before we had – I don't know what happened to the phone. I was afraid he hung up on me because I mentioned the word Texas, and then he didn't answer, and I looked down and the phone was dead.
Oh.
I was like, did he hang up on me? Yeah, but he later texted, no, just I couldn't hear you, and it was a cell phone issue. But we were talking about Dylan Gabriel, and statistically last year he was really good, but he pointed out that when he needed to be good, when you needed to get a first down, then milk a clock, or put together a game-winning drive, he'd make those overthrows, or he couldn't get it done. He said that looks a little different this year, and go back to the SMU game. When he needed to be good in that fourth quarter, he was good.
Yeah.
When it was 14-11, he
took us right down the field.
Took right down the field, scored. And then defense got it back, did it again. So he does look different. He looks comfortable. I also think, there was a little bit of a question mark of the wide receiver position outside of Farouk and Stoops, I'm very pleased that there are a lot more names we're calling out. He is hitting targets all over the field. I don't know how many targets that he has thrown to. I'd have to go look that up. But I think that helps him too, where he's not staring down or looking for Farouk or Stoops.
Right. Yeah.
He's just going through his progression, and he's comfortable to know, well, I could throw it up to Gibson. I could throw it up to, who's it from Michigan? Anthony.
Yeah.
And Anderson too. It's a core of wide receivers that he can just go, okay, if he's not open, I know my boy over here can get it. Mm-hmm. If he's not open, I know my third, or I can just tuck it and run. So I think all that is kind of blending well for Dylan Gabriel. And then, he's a 6-year senior. I lose count after the COVID stuff. So you would hope that his last season as an eligible quarter, or as he would be his best.
Yeah.
So he's done very, very well. I'd like to see the run game get going a little better. It's going to be tough, I think, against Cincinnati.
I'd like to see a running back stand out.
Yeah, it's kind of like you can afford to do this at the running back position, not the quarterback position, Mike Gundy. But you can. It's kind of like they're still trying to figure out who that guy's going to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think health has something to do with it. You're hearing some health issues, but that doesn't bother me. What bothers me is offensive line creating opportunities for these running back, and we're kind of seeing a little struggle there, and that's going to be a big test. Cincinnati has a couple guys, from what I'm hearing. Don't know the names.
Defensive line's pretty tough.
The defensive line's pretty tough. So if they can come out and establish a run game, that not only bodes well for this particular game, could bode well for the rest of the conference. Like, okay, that Cincinnati defensive line, they took care of them. Obviously, the next best test would probably be Texas, and their line plays really good. But the whole situation for me, though, scares me. Not so much it's just you feel like, I told Aaron this earlier in the week, and I've been on this, it just feels like this is a game that OU struggles in, is these on the road.
Well, it was
trap
certainly
games.
a game that Lincoln Riley struggled with.
Right? That's true. He would struggle in games like this. Last year was what it was, but there were times you feel good about it, feel good about a game, and they go and like West Virginia. I mean, no reason losing that game at West Virginia.
Yeah.
So this is why it makes me nervous. And a lot of people pick Cincinnati like second to last in this league. And it could still shake out that way. Obviously, we haven't even started Big 12 play, but it just worries me. It's important for OU to get out on a fast start.
Yes, it is.
That is important. So, what do you think? Pick a winner.
Oh, Oklahoma by a lot.
Cover?
By a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who you got in as Bowie said, who you got in Notre Dame, Ohio State? Who you picking?
Ohio State.
Are you?
Yeah.
I think Notre Dame's going to get them.
Notre Dame has the best quarterback.
But Ohio State, they struggled with explosive offenses last year. The only time they struggled at all.
It just feels like every time it looks like there's a clear winner, and that clear winner is not the team that usually wins all the time. Alabama, Ohio State, they go and win it.
Yeah.
Clemson in the past. It's like, okay, this is where Clemson's going to lose. This is the game. They're going to go down to Florida State, just as an example. And then they go and win it by 3 touchdowns. I'm not saying Ohio State's going to win by 3 touchdowns, but this just feels kind of like that game.
Yeah.
Where Ohio State's going, we're still the Ohio State University.
Yeah.
Let's go in there. What's cool about this game is, I've always loved this about Notre Dame. They're busting out the green uniforms, the green tops. That's cool to me.
Yeah,
I can't remember last time they've done it. The biggest time, at least in my, I would say, lifetime, was when USC came, and what was that, 05? The Bush Push game? Yeah, 05 or 04. That was a huge game. They came out in those green tops, and I don't think they even announced that they were. They even came out warming up in their normal tops, went back in the locker room, switched them.
I think you're right.
And then ran out. Crowd went nuts. But they've made it known they're wearing those green tops for this one. I've always liked that uniform.
I was supposed to go to the game in Notre Dame when OU went to Notre Dame, and had a buddy whose wife scheduled their wedding, a best friend whose wife scheduled their wedding.
Well, I
was at a wedding in Pennsylvania instead of being
careful there. I've gotten in trouble talking about friends and weddings during football. I've gotten in trouble for that. But that game I'll remember because the night, it was the day before my wife gave birth to our second kid, our youngest child.
Yeah.
So I remember holding my baby while that game was happening in the hospital, watching.
Yeah.
Let me take that back. It was our first child. Let me do the math. It'd have to be because it was in September when we played them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was our first child. Yeah, that was right. Yeah, and she came like a week early, so I wasn't expecting to watch Notre Dame in the hospital. But yeah. So I distinctly remember that game right there. Sterling Shepard's catch, and I'm holding him like, go Sterling. I couldn't yell or go. Hey, we scored. It kind of changed my perspective on life. I was like, you can't go crazy anymore. I mean, just enjoy what you got in your arms, and whatever happens around you is a bonus. Yeah, that would have been a fun game to attend. South Bend is one of my bucket list place to attend. If outside of OU, I've always had. I love tradition and especially college football. I'm a sucker for Rudy. When it's on, I can't turn it off. I don't mind Notre Dame winning. I don't. Now, if you're playing my Sooners, obviously Boomer Sooner.
Right.
But I don't mind.
I don't
Notre
get
Dame
angry
winning.
when they win.
No,
like I do when
people
USC
do.
or Miami or Texas.
Yeah. Some people do, but I like Notre Dame winning. I don't have a problem with it. Wow, it's already 9:32. We will take a break. We'll come back. We'll probably wrap up or talk about college football. We'll get a quick look at high school football from the area. And we got to preview the NFL weekend coming up, too. And we'll only have about 28 minutes to do it. Don't go anywhere. Fast and Furious Skinny on Sports continues after this.
Hello, my name is Scott Garrison. You may remember me as Scott the Barber or just as Ron and Carla's son. I've been involved in our community since opening Scott's Barbershop on the southeast corner of 3rd and Main in 1998. Now I'm back in the same building as Garrison Financial. I started investing in my 20s. I invested through the dot-com crash and the Great Recession. I started caring for other people's money in 2018, and I truly enjoy sitting down with my clients, understanding their wants and needs as well as what keeps them up at night. Whether my friends just want me to invest a little of their savings or want me to work with their tax and legal professionals to strive towards optimal efficiency, we can do it all. I believe communication is key to helping my clients reach their goals. For if we are faithful over a few things, we shall be given more. Contact me at scott@soonerwealth.com. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Garrison Financial and Cambridge are not affiliated. This communication is strictly intended for individuals residing in the states of Colorado, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Texas. No offers may be made or accepted from any resident outside the specific states referenced. purchased. Cambridge does not offer tax and legal advice.
The Skinny on Sports.
Welcome back, Skinny on Sports, 98.1 FM, 1240 AM, KADSD Sports Animal. Jared Atha filling in for Skinny on this Garrison Financial Friday. Speaking of Garrison, we got Scott helping me out this morning. Thank you, Scott, for giving me your time here. Yeah, tomorrow, awesome full slate of college football. I'll be out the softball field, but I have my phone, and I'm sure I'll have some breaks between games. We always take a tent, and we call it Camp Canute, and everyone puts their tents together, and we just hang out between games.
Just watch out if your girls are losing and you all of a sudden go, yeah!
I gotta be careful, yeah. Yeah, but I'll find a game and prop up my phone and just get in the shade and watch it. But yeah, I can't wait. And a lot of good games tomorrow. Real quick before we move on to the NFL. We do have high school football today. Of course, Elk City's not playing. They have the bye week because they play in that 7-team district, so everyone takes a bye at some point, and it's the first week of district play for the Big Elks. So they are off. They return next week on the road. They'll open district play over at Clinton. Speaking of Clinton, they host John Marshall tonight. Weatherford's hosting Chickasha, and Cache hosts Woodward. That's what 4A1 looks like this evening. Looks like all the home teams should get wins pretty easily. Other games in the area tonight: Burns Flat, Dill City, they host Texoma. Sayre is at Thomas. Mangum hosts Apache Mangum, undefeated, by the way. Corn Bible Academy and 8-man's going to Granfield. And also an 8-man, Hollis is hosting Surreal. You can watch that one tonight on ParagonTV.com. And last night, the Merritt Oilers played on Paragon TV. It was homecoming for the Oilers, but they fell to Moreland 28-6. They dropped to 1-3 on the year. That was their opening district game. They fall to 0-1 in the Sauce District. You know why I call it the Sauce District, the Barbecue Sauce District? A1. It's A1 district.
There you go.
Next up, a tough one for Merritt. Long road trip up to Texoma as they try to right the ship up there in the Panhandle. By the way, Texoma School District, always fun little anecdote. It sits right there on the Texas-Oklahoma state line, and part of that school district is actually in Texas.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know that till I went. I went there a long time ago to cover a game.
That's far out.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's so
I wouldn't let the Texas kids play on my team.
Yeah, the town sits on the state line, right?
Yeah.
And there's a point where you can cross a street and you're in Texas, you're back in Oklahoma, and vice versa. But that school district it ventures out into Texas too. But they identify as an Oklahoma school, playing the OSSAA. Yeah, it's wild, but and it's a long trip up there too. But it's cool location. It's a cool location up there. Okay, NFL. Let's talk about that. Week 3 coming up, and the biggest news is not probably a game, but yesterday, Dallas Cowboys announced Trayvon Diggs is out for the year. Had a knee injury, I believe it was an ACL. And so that's crushing for the Cowboys defense, who I was tabbing as an elite defense. They shored up a lot of things it looked like in the offseason. The secondary, they got Diggs some help by trading for the name escapes me. Help me on the text line if you know it. But they got him some help on the other side, and it looked like they had shored up the run defense as well. But now, with Trayvon Diggs out, the question is, are they still an elite defense? They still have Parsons. They still have I'm going to look his name up, but they still have other pieces. It wasn't just Diggs and everybody else. Parsons, but the reason that worked is Parsons would apply so much pressure, I think would make quarterbacks make quick decisions, and that would help out Diggs with what he did best with pass breakups and, of course, interceptions.
Parsons, third greatest pass rusher in the NFL right now.
He is
behind T.J. Watt and Nick Bosa.
So are they? Are they still?
Said that because everybody's just giving me crap about my boys.
Are they still a defense that can carry this team? Because the offense is good, not great. There's that phrase again. But the defense, I considered them as a championship Tier 1 type defense that could carry a team as far as they could go.
Losing a lockdown corner in the NFL is big.
It's going to be tough.
Is big.
And I don't think we'll have that answer this week with Arizona. Arizona's not good.
Well, no, but I don't know if it's going to matter because I don't know if anybody can beat the 49ers this year at all.
They looked good last night.
They've looked. I mean, they look unbeatable.
They look good, albeit against the Giants, who are now 1-2 after that loss. But they look like a complete team offensively. When you have, I mean, Purdy might be the real deal. I was kind of apprehensive about him because they threw him in so late in the year.
Yeah.
I didn't think, he had the advantage because nobody had tape on the kid. Maybe he was overlooked because he was Mr. Irrelevant and all of that. Now here we are going into week 3. He looks the part. He looks the part. Let's face it, 49ers got lucky drafting him.
Oh, my
They got lucky drafting this guy.
Yeah.
Of course, you got McCaffrey. You got Samuel. The offense looks as complete as and Kittle.
Yeah.
How did I forget him? Their offense looks as complete as any in the NFL, and I'm including the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they look really, really good.
I mean, they destroyed my Steeler defense in week 1. Destroyed them. And Pittsburgh still has a good defense.
Yes,
they do.
Yeah. Speaking of Pittsburgh, they got the Raiders.
They do.
Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
So not only are you going to have the ice chest ready for tomorrow, you might want to save some of that for Sunday Night Football.
That's it. So you do the smoked brisket on Saturday, and then you have some chopped beef sandwiches on Sunday.
There you go.
Solid gold.
What do you think in Vegas? What do you think? Vegas is a favorite here, 2.5 points.
Yeah. Our offense is terrible. Pittsburgh's offense is terrible.
Is Pickett the answer?
I don't know if it's Pickett. I mean, he's running for his life.
Yeah.
Every snap. So, yeah, I don't think that there's much to be hopeful for this year. Still got work to do on the offensive line.
Speaking of Vegas, if I'm a betting man, I actually take Steelers in this one.
Yeah,
I would feel comfortable laying down the money on that one.
I like the Steelers in this one. I like the Steelers. How about
what other games? Yeah.
How about our Buccaneers?
Now that's going to be really interesting.
That is an interesting game.
It's in Tampa Bay. Eagles, Philadelphia at Tampa Bay. Of course, both teams 2-0. Buccaneers turning into this kind of a. Well, how about that story? Well, look at that team.
Shake and bake.
Baker's looking. He's not doing crazy things. He's not forcing anything. I'll stand on this until the day I die. Mike Evans won Johnny Football the Heisman at Texas A&M because that's if you go back and watch that season.
That's a pretty good point.
Watch that season. Sure, Manziel ran for his life, created a lot of stuff, and then he would just throw it up, and guess who'd throw it up to? Mike Evans.
That's a pretty good point.
I've said Mike Evans is the most underrated wide receiver in the NFL. He needs to get paid. Mm-hmm. If the Buccaneers don't do it, someone's going to pay him.
Yeah, somebody will.
And Baker recognizes that, I think.
Well,
he says, okay, Mike Evans, what do you have? What's he have this year? 12 catches, 237 yards, 2 touchdowns. You throw it up to the guy. You give yourself a chance. Baker knows that. And help me out. Has he had a guy like that? He played with Odell.
Yeah, but
didn't really work.
No, Odell's.
Had like half a season with the Rams.
This is the first elite receiver that he's had. I would say this is the first elite receiver that he's had. But I'll tell you one thing: he looks head and shoulders above Deshaun Watson.
Oh. Is that not karma at its finest?
It's wonderful. Absolutely fantastic.
I love it. I love everything that bad happening to the Browns and Watson. I couldn't be more ecstatic about that, and I hope it continues to spiral down, and I hope Baker continues to play well. But this is the big test with the Eagles coming in. Jalen Hurts, he's looked okay. I think the real question is, can the Buccaneers slow down Eagles' offense?
Yeah.
And we'll see. Every time I'm counting, I mean, I know it's only been 2 games, but I just never felt Buccaneers. We all went into this season thinking, well, it's going to be a long year for the Bucs. They don't have an offensive line. Baker's going to be running for his life. They've looked okay, and okay is good enough for 2-0. But this is their first real big test. Rams at Bengals, man, it doesn't get any easier for Bengals. Hearing reports that Joe Burrow, they could possibly rest him.
Yeah.
There's still lingering issues with that calf, knee, leg. I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
He was limping last week. Bengals are limping into this one at 0-2. Rams 1-1. Everyone forgets about Matt Stafford because he basically took a year off last year. He's back.
Mm-hmm.
Rams are not that far away from when they won that Super Bowl with Matt Stafford.
No, they're not.
So,
but I mean, talk about. I mean, Dolphins 2-0, Commanders 2-0, Falcons 2-0. There's a lot of big time surprises.
okay, let me ask you this, and I might have already answered that question, but what 2-0 team loses or more, or which one is more likely to lose this week in your eyes?
The Commanders are losing to the Bills.
Yeah, that was an easy one, wasn't it? That's where I was going to go.
Yeah, that's a meatball.
How about an 0-2 team that could get their first win?
An 0-2 team that can get their first win? I don't know. The teams that are 0-2, they look like 0-2. I mean, they have looked abysmal.
It's not going to be the Bears.
The Broncos, I know we got a lot of Broncos fans around in this area, and they have not gotten any better than they were last year.
Tear it down.
Oh, my God.
Get rid of Wilson. Tear it down. Start over.
They are awful.
Future head coach Deion Sanders. He don't even have to sell his house. He can just stay right there.
Well, I mean, there's going to be one 0-2 team that gets their first win.
Well, between Chargers and Vikings. But which one's more likely, you think?
The Vikings will win that.
You think the Vikings are more likely to win?
I think so.
Chargers have an offense. Their defense is horrid. They have an offense that can move the football. They've scored the most points, I believe, in the this year in the league.
Yeah,
but
if the
0-2.
Vikings had quit giving the other team the ball, that
right,
Yeah,
I'm looking. I think that might be your answer. I don't see Texans having any luck at Jaguars. Panthers, I don't see that happening in Seattle. Bears are done. I mean, after 2 weeks, they're put a fork in them. Cardinals, I don't see them winning against the Cowboys.
Yeah, the Cardinals' attempt to tank is looking pretty good, but there might be several teams that are battling for Ofer.
And that's a question we'll have down the line is when it starts to get a little bit clearer picture of who's going to be the number one and should they take Caleb Williams, because I think someone else, I've said this, look at the Texans. Yeah, they drafted a quarterback last year, but what if somehow they fall into the number one spot?
It doesn't
do they
matter
trade,
who,
do you trade the pick,
who the number one pick is,
or do you get him?
You absolutely take Caleb Williams.
You take him.
There's no hey, we got a quarterback last year.
Do you trade who they get, Stroud?
I don't care if you feel like you have a solid quarterback that's 3 years into the league. If you have an opportunity to get Caleb Williams, you got to go get him.
Yeah.
He's a generational talent.
Yep.
He's
well, according to his dad, doesn't even want to go there.
He's everything Vince Young was running the ball, and he's twice as accurate throwing the ball. Mm-hmm. That's what he is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a guy you don't miss on, you don't pass on. I don't care what your quarterback situation is. If you have the number one pick, you get him. It's kind of like the Ohtani thing. That's what I was saying. I don't care if you're the Angels. You don't trade him.
No.
He's Ohtani pre-injury, but he's still Ohtani. You do everything you can to try to keep him on your team. Keep him happy, and also can be said in the free agency, if there's even a question of how much you pay him, it shouldn't be a question. Doesn't matter. Pay him.
Yep.
You attempt to get this guy on your team, even if you're waiting a full year for him to pitch again. You get him on because he can still swing it.
Well, it's not like he's not doing a job somewhere else. So.
Yeah. I can't wait until the postseason or the off season in baseball to see where how that shakes out. I have no idea where he could go. No clue. I think the favorite is the Dodgers. I secretly hope the Rangers throw their hat into the ring. They're not shy about spending. And it might really depend on where Ohtani goes, if how somebody performs in the postseason. If the Rangers can't get in, that might just don't even try.
Yeah.
But if they can get in and have a nice showing in the postseason, because I think that's a thing. I think he wants to go to a place that can contend for championships. Rangers might be that up-and-coming team. Or does he go to the Dodgers, who's always been there? I don't know. That's interesting. I don't know how we got to Ohtani. But we got to take one more break. We'll do that now. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show. Maybe do a little bit more baseball talk. Maybe do a little bit more football talk. We'll do whatever you guys want to talk about. 580-225-9698. Text and tell us. And we'll talk about it. Wrapping up the Garrison Financial Friday version of the Skinny on Sports. Keep it right here.
Hello, my name is Scott Garrison. You may remember me as Scott the Barber or just as Ron and Carla's son. I've been involved in our community since opening Scott's Barbershop on the southeast corner of 3rd and Main in 1998. Now I'm back in the same building as Garrison Financial. I started investing in my 20s. I invested through the dot-com crash and the Great Recession. I started caring for other people's money in 2018, and I truly enjoy sitting down with my clients, understanding their wants and needs as well as what keeps them up at night. Whether my friends just want me to invest a little of their savings or want me to work with their tax and legal professionals to strive towards optimal efficiency, we can do it all. I believe communication is key to helping my clients reach their goals. For if we are faithful over a few things, we shall be given more. Contact me at scott@soonerwealth.com. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Garrison Financial and Cambridge are not affiliated. This communication is strictly intended for individuals residing in the states of Colorado, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Texas. No offers may be made or accepted from any resident outside the specific states referenced. Cambridge does not offer tax and legal advice.
The Skinny on Sports.
Just a bit outside.
Or we can explain it now. I don't know. Yeah. We can wrap up the show with OSU talk. We didn't really talk about their game at Iowa State this weekend. We talk about NFL teams in need of a win. I tell you what, those are two teams that are in desperate need of a win, Iowa State and OSU. Welcome back to Skinny on Sports, by the way. Jared Eighth here.
I didn't see that Did you see about, what's his name? Iowa State's coach, Matt Campbell.
Yeah.
That he went after a guy last week?
Did you see the video?
I have not.
You have to look it up.
Is it pretty bad?
It's
not becoming of a head football coach?
I almost don't blame Matt Campbell.
Yeah.
Because everyone's human. If someone's yelling at me, if I'm walking by him, I'm probably going to turn around and go, "What'd you say?"
Yeah.
You're just supposed to ignore it. Supposed to be Teflon and just let it.
Right.
And I get, you're held to a higher standard being a head football coach and all that stuff. But on the other hand, I mean, I'm one to say that why take it,
Yeah.
And what happened was I don't know if it was after the game or if it was at halftime because they played at Ohio, the University of Ohio.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Is Frank Soler still coach that team?
I believe so.
So, I don't know if it was at halftime or post or after the game. And they lost. And there's some controversy around that. But they've been struggling. Of course, they're dealing with that betting scandal, and they've lost their best player, some would say, than their quarterback.
No, I think they lost more than just him, too,
didn't
they?
Yeah,
didn't they have several players that got caught up in that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the fan said, go get after him, Campbell, and said, as he was walking by, and he yelled, "You're on the hot seat."
Yeah.
"You're on the hot seat." And then Campbell just turned around, and he was hot. And we've seen Campbell hot. We've seen him hot, right? I wonder if I can find that. I don't think there's any bad words said. I could probably play the audio. But, yeah, but it's true.
It is.
Imagine, we talked about this too, me and Aaron, about Matt Campbell just a few short years ago. He was a hot name in all of football.
Mm-hmm.
He was tied to a lot of NFL openings, college, big college programs. But now, I mean, has his stock gone down?
Oh man, I don't know. It looks like the same thing as Stillwater. It looks like he's lost all grasp of what's going on with the transfer portal, doesn't want to play the game, which is the game. The transfer portal is college football. That's it.
Yeah.
The transfer portal is college football now. That is the name of the game. And if you're not going to play it, you're not going to win.
Okay, here's the deal. Did you go one ear dead there?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to play it. This isn't going to go over air. I just want to make sure we're not hearing a cuss word. Okay, so he's... I didn't hear. You hear bad words?
I didn't hear any swearing.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's play it here. So he's is last week. He's walking by. It's an Iowa State fan who looks exactly what you think an Iowa State fan would look like. And well, you'll hear it.
Come on, Campbell, get after him! Hey, Campbell, what are you doing? You're on the hot seat. You're on the hot seat.
And there's Campbell yelling back at him, and players and security have to hold him back. And when that happens, the little man turns around, looks right at the camera with a sly grin on his face, like, got him.
Yeah.
I got him.
Yeah.
I got him to react to me.
It's literally the guys in the Water Boy, the hecklers from the Water Boy.
He looks just like one of them. He looks just like one of the guys that's in the fan. Oh, what? Yes, you know.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. Y'all show you when we get off here. Yeah. OSU though, what do they got? They've got to turn this around. That was an embarrassing loss for them last week. South Alabama, and it wasn't just like a kick for 3 at the buzzer. They whipped Oklahoma State. That doesn't happen, and it happened in Stillwater.
Yeah. And if they don't win this week, who are they going to beat?
Great question.
If they don't win this week, who are they going to beat in the
Try
Big
to
12?
find their remaining schedule. Yeah, that's a great question. There's obviously OU's on it. Let me look that up. Has Mike Gundy named a quarterback?
I don't believe so. Not that I know of. Text line, folks.
I haven't
name a
heard.
starter?
I haven't heard. It would have been all over these airwaves if he had. So after
It'd be
Ohio,
nice if he just narrow it down to 2.
yeah. After this one, he has a really tough game. It's a Friday night game. It's in Stillwater, but we just saw that doesn't mean much this season. Kansas State coming to town.
No.
Friday night primetime game. Then they host Kansas. They go to West Virginia, host Cincinnati, of course, host Oklahoma, at Central Florida, at Houston, host BYU. All of a sudden, that schedule looks tough.
That schedule looks Cincinnati.
You'd
like to say that that's going to be a win for them. Houston, you'd like to say that that's going to be a win. Houston looks pretty bad.
Houston does look bad.
But, I mean, right now I'm looking at 3 wins in the conference for the over-under for them.
Yeah, it's some trying times for Oklahoma State. The answer is the portal.
And I take no pleasure in saying that.
No.
My friends that think that I'm just trying to beat up on Oklahoma State, it's not cool.
No.
They got to figure it out. They got to right the ship.
No, and there was a saying when, there were hard times in Norman. It was in Bob we trust. And they trusted the fan base, trusted what the direction was. And he often made good directions, whether it be personnel. I mean, most notably bringing in Lincoln Riley, a guy from East Carolina, and people went, who? And look, the rest is history.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, bad history after that. But he would make those personnel changes. And we've seen Gundy kind of be hard-headed about personnel changes when I think he needs to make some.
And we've seen assistants leave as quickly as possible, like sometimes taking jobs that don't really look like a better job.
Yeah. And then there's the quarterback situation too. I mean, again, I hate comparing, it could be comparing apples to oranges here. But remember when Bob Stoops named Sam Bradford the starter? And everyone kind of went, well, I thought, who was it going to be, Nichols? Everyone thought, or who was the guy that they thought it was the heir apparent? That this is the next guy. And then they named Bradford the starter.
Bradford, yeah.
Well, that turned out to be pretty good.
good.
Gundy's had
Jeremy Robbins says that Oklahoma State's the Titanic. They're sinking fast.
Yes, they are. Hope Gundy has a door to float on when that happens. Well, we'll see. Both teams need a win in a big way. Oklahoma State and Iowa State. And then this is a bad situation for both teams because whoever loses, they're going to go, you lost to that team.
Yeah.
That's like the one game you needed to win because they're beatable.
Yeah,
both teams are saying that right now. Both fan bases are saying that right now.
Well, and both coaches are saying in the locker room, guys, this is where we get our momentum. And if you don't, then your momentum is gone.
Yeah.
It's completely gone.
Yeah. So should be fun to watch. For all those reasons, fun weekend of college football for all the games that we mentioned earlier. OU at Cincinnati. By the way, you could hear that game on Cool 94, 9 a.m. pregame, 11 o'clock kickoff. I think that's like the one good thing about that. I'm glad it's not a 7 o'clock game in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
For all those other reasons I mentioned. And
that's a good point.
So they just get at it and
get it
get
over
going,
with, and then we can watch all the other games.
Right.
And that's a good point.
Yeah. But we'll see what happens. And, of course, all those other great games throughout the rest of the day. Don't forget tonight, Paragon TV, Surreal at Hollis. You can watch that one. High school football. Enjoy your night off, Big Elk fans.
There you go.
Go watch a game.
Come down and see me on the corner. Garrison
Yes.
Financial.
Scott, thanks
124 North Main.
thanks for being on with me.
Yeah,
Appreciate
great.
it.
Good time.
Helps me out.
Maybe we don't need Skinny.
He'll be back Monday, though. See you then. Take care.
You've been listening to the Skinny on Sports podcast with Aaron Cow. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to get alerts of when the latest podcast is available. Thanks for listening.
That ball is blistered to right. Way back. Goodbye.
Hello, my name is Scott Garrison. You may remember me as Scott the Barber or just as Ron and Carla's son. I've been involved in our community since opening Scott's Barbershop on the southeast corner of 3rd and Main in 1998. Now I'm back in the same building as Garrison Financial. I started investing in my 20s. I invested through the dot-com crash and the Great Recession. I started caring for other people's money in 2018, and I truly enjoy sitting down with my clients, understanding their wants and needs as well as what keeps them up at night. Whether my friends just want me to invest a little of their savings or want me to work with their tax and legal professionals to strive towards optimal efficiency, we can do it all. I believe communication is key to helping my clients reach their goals. For if we are faithful over a few things, we shall be given more. Contact me at scott@soonerwealth.com. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Garrison Financial and Cambridge are not affiliated. This communication is strictly intended for individuals residing in the states of Colorado, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Texas. No offers may be made or accepted from any resident outside the specific states referenced. Cambridge does not offer tax and legal advice.